Why is he doing this to me? What's going on, guys? I have been tasked with the extremely difficult tag video. Shout out to my man Agoon of Quality Fragrances. He was tagged by Darian, Bowtie Fragrance Guy. Shout out to Darian as well. Keep only 10 fragrances for life, period. Doesn't matter, it's cheap, designer, niche, whatever. It's a little easier to do when it's... I recently updated my 10 cheap fragrances for life. It's been over 2 years since I updated that. That's a little bit easier than having to mix in the few that could make the cut with some designers and some niche. This one's actually much more difficult than you guys may think, especially with an ever-growing collection. There is going to be some fragrances that you're going to be surprised are not in here. Please don't come at me in the comments with, man, I can't believe you didn't do this or you didn't do that. These are the 10. God forbid I ever have to just keep 10 fragrances. But in the event I have to, these are the 10. Let's get started with the first one. So when picking these 10, it's got to cover all the things that I enjoy most in fragrances. Different florals, leathers, aquatics, blue fragrances, and so on. I had to get a little bit of everything across the board here to satisfy my taste in the event I only keep 10. So naturally, Invictus Aqua 2018 was the bright aquatic of choice for me. This is absolutely my favorite fragrance in my collection. No secret here. I love this stuff. When compiling this list, I actually sprayed it on my forearm and was just enjoying it before I took my shower this evening. I know it perplexes people at times because there's some people that this is just a pass for them or it's underwhelming and so on. But I don't know, it's just something about this scent profile that always seems to lift my mood, you know, put me in great spirits, put a smile on my face. I love the way it smells. I've gotten many compliments from others with how it smells coming off of my skin. It's an above average performer without being a beast, though it's very loud in the first like 45 minutes or so. It's pretty loud, so if you spray this one on the heavier side, you're going to have a massive scent bubble for the first hour, hour and a half. But I really like this stuff. I do have a backup bottle of 50 ml. This is my 100 ml tester, so I've got plenty of juice to last me probably for my entire... It'll probably spoil before I ever go through it completely, but this is one that I would have to have for life, regardless of price point or whatever. One that's going to have to stay in my collection just because I enjoy it so damn much. And I've always had such positive experiences with others with this fragrance. It just checks all the boxes for me. Absolutely one I got to keep is Invictus Aqua 2018 from Paco Rabanne. Next, I have to have a boozy tobacco fragrance. Well, really a boozy or a tobacco fragrance, and this fragrance satisfies both because it's such a pure rum absolute. The tobacco here is slightly earthy, but much more smooth, gives a kind of a darker animalic tone without being too much. A lot of fruits in the top. This is my favorite tobacco fragrance, on par with another. I mean, it's just so good, guys. Triumph of Bacchus from Argos. Think Mancera red tobacco, then take away the oud and the incense. Take away the dark pungence of what makes red tobacco so special. Red tobacco is special. Now, enhance and add some fruits to it. Increase the quality and the purity and level of the blend. And you're going to get Triumph of Bacchus. Similar, not the same. This is one that, I don't know, it's just something about it. Just got to keep one tobacco fragrance so I'm not littering my tin with it. This satisfies the urge of both a heavily boozy fragrance and a heavily tobacco-based fragrance. It's sweet, it's fruity, it's fresh, it's powerful. It's just so damn good. It's my favorite from the house, and it's the one that I urge everybody to get a sample of and try. This is the main one that I consider must try from Argos. Definitely get yourself a carded sample and try this. And if you've yet to experience it anyways, I just love it. So it's definitely a lifer for me. If I can only keep 10, I've got to keep Triumph of Bacchus. Now, another thing that's not a secret is my love for the note of iris. And I love the Dioram line. I like a really good leather fragrance as well. And this fragrance kind of cures the craving for both a nice animalic tone, quality leather, with a gorgeous iris. More of a fantasy lipsticky iris. It's in the Dioram line, obviously. Dioram Parfum. I think this is one of the greatest fragrances ever composed. This is one of the older style 75 milliliter bottles. I have 2 of these bottles. I have always loved this fragrance. This stuff is special to me. It's just so unique, a little edgy, a bit of an enigma. It's a little enigmatic. Great for the evenings, great for the cold, monstrous performer, one that 75 ml goes a long ways. I never do more than 4 sprays because it's absurdly powerful on my skin. It has a very strong presence to it, a unique presence, without coming across too feminine for having that waxy lipstick iris smell. It's got some animalic edginess to this leather. There's a little touch of oud in there. When it dries down, it goes from a much more dark fragrance to a much more light and creamy wood base because it does change drastically. Like I said, this is one of, in my opinion, the greatest fragrances ever composed. I love this stuff. This was undoubtedly going to be in this video because I have to have it. I have to have it. If I could only keep just one from Dioram, one designer level, anyways, iris fragrance, it's definitely this one because it's special. It's dark. It's leathery. It's, like I said, it's edgy. It's got that edgy tone to it. I think that's what I dig the most about it. Got to keep this one, no doubt about it. Dioram Parfum. So this one may surprise a few because there's another thing that's not a real big secret is I'm a fan of very spicy fragrances, especially in the fall. The fall is the main time of year when I like to pull out the spices. And this was a tough one. This was very tough because there's a lot of spice-dominant fragrances, regardless of if it's on the fresher side or the warmer side, that I really enjoy in my collection. And this comes down to the Spicebomb line for me, honestly, and as much as I think the entire line is good, I think if I'm only grabbing one, I'm grabbing the original. I actually featured it recently in a video. I love this stuff. Spicebomb from Viktor and Rolf, the original. This has always been a special scent profile to me. I think it's so much more versatile than it even gets credit for if you just like spicy. It's got a seductive quality to it. It's very captivating. It's extremely alluring. It will pull people in. It's a magnetic type of scent profile that people that aren't familiar with Spicebomb are going to be intrigued by. People that are familiar with Spicebomb more than likely enjoy the scent profile and are going to think you smell really nice. And I do still get very good performance on this one. I actually sprayed this one on my arm yesterday at the recording of this. Yesterday evening, I just happened to spray it on my arm because I just featured it in another video, like I was saying. The 10 fragrances, fall fragrances I can't wait to wear. Make sure to check that video out. But this is one I can't wait to pull out this fall, and then I got tagged the following day with this video, and it's like, man, how do I not keep Spicebomb? You know? This is, when it comes to a purely spicy fragrance, regardless of, you know, needing to be niche quality, I don't need it to be niche quality. I just need to enjoy it. And there's not another spicy fragrance that I can think of that I enjoy smelling on my own skin more than Spicebomb from Viktor and Rolf. As much as I've deemed Night Vision EDP as my favorite from the line, when it came down to it, I'm willing to let that one go to keep this one. Like I said, this one probably surprises some, but I just really, and maybe it's a love of right now that could potentially change later, even though this is the original fragrance, because right now I'm really in the mood to wear this one. So I guess that kind of played into the bias on why it's a lifer in this video for sure. It's the original Spicebomb from Viktor and Rolf. I was back and forth between 2 fragrances from this house. I love the House of Amouage. I don't have a ton of fragrances from them. I have 6 full bottles, I believe, currently. I have several decants and little discovery kits from them. Like I've got my nose on quite a few from the house. But there's only one that really does it for me that I deem so special that I myself only wear it on special occasions. It's relatively new to my collection. It came down to Reflection Man or Epic Man. And I think I got to keep Epic Man. I really, really, really had difficulty picking between the two. Because Reflection Man is just such a great, refined floral fragrance. A floral fragrance lover's fragrance. When it comes to quality, when it comes to performance, elegance, versatility, I think it's a very special scent profile. It pained me to not pick that. But when I sniffed this beautiful spiced incense and oud, slightly medicinal, almost cleaner like oud, there it is. It overwhelms me with the sense of importance when I smell this fragrance. That's why I deem it such a special occasion type of fragrance. This is one of the newer bottles. Obviously, it has you know, the larger magnetic cap with the different neck. It's not the skinnier style like it used to be. Actually says Epic on the front, and it's still a fantastic performer, because I know somebody's going to ask down below. I get not necessarily nuclear performance, but definitely beast mode type of performance on my skin with this one. I don't do more than 4 sprays. I think the last time I wore it I did 5 sprays, but you don't need much of this one, and this is a show out. This is a conversation starter. This has a little bit of a daring touch without being too challenging of a wear. If you're the type that's used to wearing mass appealing fragrances, yeah, this is probably more of a challenging wear for you. But if you're an enthusiast that has a wide variety of fragrances, this is kind of safer than some would even enjoy, honestly. Like I said, it depends on where you're at with your collection and what you've smelled, basically. But for me, it's one that I don't think will ever get old. I used to have a decant of it that I went through before I purchased the bottle. This was not a blind buy. One of those few times that I took my time with deciding if I wanted to get it, and it's just one that I got to keep forever. If I'm only compiling 10 fragrances, and these are my 10 moving forward, I need that showstopper. That fragrance that I feel on my skin just provides that different level of confidence from every other fragrance that I would have in my collection, which is just these 10, according to this tag video. So, might surprise some, but I got to have Amouage Epic Man. So clearly, I'm a blue fragrance guy. Another thing that's not a secret. So some of you are probably anticipating this fragrance being here, and yeah, it's got to be here. It's the fragrance most synonymous with my channel. If I'm just keeping one blue fragrance, it's going to be Aqua Cinziale Blue from Salvatore Ferragamo. It's my jam. I have a backup 100 ml to this, about half a 50 ml, 25 ml that I have left in this bottle. I love this stuff, guys. That is never going to change. One of the more versatile and slightly unique for a blue fragrance type of scent profiles that I have in my collection. I love this stuff. Tonka bean, lavender, heavy, a little bit of citrus. There's some cypriol oil that provides kind of an earthy green tone. It's not too heavy on the woods. It is a little powdery. It is a little soapy, but it doesn't come across as too much of an embroxen bomb or anything like that, which is kind of rare. It does smell like it has a little bit in there. I don't remember if that's even in the notes, but it does have a little bit of an embroxen smell, but not by any means the type of embroxen you expect from Versace Dylan Blue or Dior Sauvage or Prada Luna Rosa Carbon or any of those fragrances, which, believe it or not, you're not going to find any of those fragrances in this video. I left them all behind because I felt it was only right for me to take one blue fragrance. Obviously, Invictus Aqua was my light blue aquatic, but the one blue fragrance that I picked for this video is what, in my opinion, regardless of price, is the best blue fragrance. Even though prices have climbed over the last couple of years on this one, from where it used to be 20, 25 bucks to get 100 ml, now you're looking around 40, I still think it's worth it at that price point, guys. It's still way below retail, and it's an awesome fragrance. Above average performance, and like I said, it'll remind you of a lot of different blue fragrances, but it doesn't smell like any one particular blue fragrance. I've always dug that about this. So if I'm only keeping one blue, it's going to be Aqua Cinziale Blue from Salvatore Ferragamo. This one was a little difficult, but not as difficult as you may think, because my all-time favorite fragrance I've ever smelled from the house of Raja Parfums is Danger Parfum Pour Homme. Now, I don't own that fragrance, and I can tell you that Danger Parfum Cologne is pretty close. It's the fresher take. It's a much more airy version. It doesn't have the level of density, and herbaceous spice is a little bit higher on Danger Parfum Pour Homme. But I gotta keep Danger Parfum Cologne over Elysium, both forms of Elysium, over Oceania, which is the one I wear the most from the house, over Amber Oud, over all of them. And I got a ton of great fragrances from them. It's just the level of versatility that this fragrance provides is almost unmatched for an aromatic fougere, because it's an aromatic fougere that's not today's designer aromatic fougere, because most of your blue fragrances are categorized as that. This is not a blue fragrance. This is beautiful citruses, a nice creamy lemon. There's fresh herbs, not really heavy on the spice. Like I said, the Parfum Pour Homme is more heavy on the herbaceous spice. It's a little bit warmer. Whereas this one's a little bit fresher. You get a little bit of tonka bean, there's a little bit of powder, there's a lot of woods, there's a heavy complexity to this note breakdown. It's very aromatic. It's kind of a timeless style done right. Very, very versatile. Great signature scent type of fragrance. I do have a few that are signature scent worthy in this video because, You know, like I said, more times than not, I like do-it-all fragrances. So naturally, even though not exactly the same genre and style of scent, I do have a few that are signature scent worthy, and this is definitely one of them. Like I said, difficult. It was a little difficult because I definitely wanted to keep something from Raja Parfums because they just have so many fantastic offerings. How could I not? I got to keep something from the house. And when I really broke it down on what and why, this checks every single box I could potentially list for what makes a great all-around fragrance that's quality from a high-level luxury fragrance. I love this stuff. I definitely got to keep Danger Parfum Cologne from Raja Parfums. Next, this is the reason Signature Tobacco was not chosen. I chose a different tobacco fragrance because obviously I'm going to keep a fragrance from the house of Zaharoff, and it's got to be Signature Rosé. This is the highlight of the house. At the recording of this, the newest fragrance to release was Citrine, and then the decant size of Royale Triple X. So there is, at the recording of this, Leather Tobacco is the next release coming in the fall. That's going to rival this. I will say, I'm not going to go into too much detail. Yes, I've spent plenty of time with it. When it comes out, I think people are going to love it. It can rival this as top of the house, but it's pretty hard to beat. Rose incense, a variety of rose, Bulgarian rose, Turkish rose, so you have a little jammy thickness. You have some freshness from the Turkish rose. There's a little bit of peony to add a different type of floral tone to it, more of a pink floral. But it's really about this heavy olibanum tears incense. It really pops on my skin. The oud here is just warm wood type of feel. Nothing oudy, traditional oud smell about it. And there's some sugary notes and vanilla bean and stuff that add a nice underlying, relatively thick sweetness, but not too much of a sweetness. It's more of a supportive type of tone, more so than specific notes. This is a gorgeous fragrance that is intoxicating. I have had people stop me in grocery stores to ask me what I was wearing with this fragrance. It's super unique in my experience. I haven't smelled another fragrance that smells like this. My wife has her own bottle. It smells amazing on her as well. I just love this fragrance. It's great on female skin chemistry. It's great on my skin chemistry as well. It's just, like I said, obviously I was going to keep one. And while part of me wanted to just keep Signature Pour Homme because it's my favorite suit and tie fragrance, this one's the wow factor, guys. This is the must try from the house. If you're only going to try one fragrance from the house and you want a unique experience, even if you're not a fan of rose, this might make you a believer. I got to keep this one. Zaharoff, Signature Rosé. I'm a fan of the Invictus scent profile, and this doesn't smell like Invictus, but it does the same job as Invictus. I know a lot of people want to call it an alternative or clone. Definitely not a clone to Invictus, but a good alternative for sure because it's got the same vibe and it does do the exact same job. Because I have a ton of fragrances that fit the same vibe as of Invictus, whether it be something that smells like or something similar to. But for me, Mancera, Cedrat, Boise, the original, not the intense. I got to keep this stuff. This is another one of those signature scent-worthy fragrances I was referencing earlier. Beautiful basket of fruits, wicker basket full of fruits. I get a little touch of sweetness, but a lot of fruity freshness. There's lemon, there's black currant, there's a little bit of a grapes and oranges type of smell. It's been called kind of similar to a Fruity Pebbles type of opening because it's just a variety of citruses and fruits in the smell. And I can see where people are coming from with that. It's definitely a fantastic opening, and it starts to settle into this more drier wood type of smell with a little touch of vanilla. Not a smoky fragrance or anything like that. Like I said, I can see where people are coming from with it being an alternative for Invictus, and it's at a fraction of the price. You can get this in the sub $100 price point. There was a time when you could get it for 60 to 70 bucks. Haven't looked in a while, but I'm sure it's a little bit more than that from discounters. Now, if you can find it in the $80 range, well worth it for this 4-ounce, 120 ml bottle. Works great in the evenings, transitions perfectly, seamlessly from daytime to evening wear in all seasons. It has the level of freshness for high heat. It has the performance and the density and backbone to the scent profile to cut through cold. It just works. I have to keep this one. And I debated on the Intense. I did. I'm loving Intense Cedrat Boise. Don't get me wrong, but if I'm just picking one, I mean, this is something that's going to be the only 10 I can wear forever. Got to go with Mancera Cedrat Boisi. Now, last but not least, I debated on if I was to leave this off, but if I'm being completely honest with the only 10 that I'm going to keep, of course I'm going to keep this fragrance. I mean, there's no way, no how would I not keep this for life. This is the fragrance I have the most backup bottles of. I have a lifetime stash of this fragrance because I never want to run out of the fragrance that came from my mind. Zaharoff and TLTG Reviews, business over pleasure. I debated on just a notable honorable mention, but that would make it 11 fragrances. But I mean, I got several bottles. The ones that, it was only a handful of the ones where the plate was a little crooked on the box. I was like, oh, those are defects. I don't want to send those out in the world. That's the backup bottles I'll keep for myself. So I have a handful, roughly, of bottles for myself. So I'll never run out. I mean, I created this with Claude Dior. My ideas, my story, the notes I wanted to work with through Claude Dior's talents, his masterful talents. And putting this list together, of course, I sprayed my arm earlier today. And the dry down's the magic for me when it gets a little bit creamier from the Palo Santo. I love iris. This is the fresh iris. Technically, I have 2 iris fragrances that I decided to keep. But I mean, it's a no-brainer. Of course I'm going to keep this. That's why I debated on saying, you know, of course I'm going to keep that, but I didn't want to put it in the list. But, I mean, if it's got to be 10, this has got to be one of them. I mean, come on. It was a unique adventure, an experience that I'm so glad and thankful to have been a part of and been able to do. So I love this stuff. It makes me happy. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. Super versatile, very inoffensive, not in your face, built for a professional setting, but can be great casual as well. Can go through your day. If you're the type that doesn't like loud in your face, you probably like this. It's exactly what it was built to be. Of course I had to keep this. Zaharoff and TLTG Reviews, business over pleasure. Well, that was the 10, and that was so damn hard. You wouldn't believe how hard. Because, I mean, I'm knocking on the door of the neighborhood of 1,000 fragrances. I haven't counted. It's been a while, and I was in the 800 range the last time I kind of gave a rough idea. So, it's hard to whittle it down to just 10. So some you might have been surprised, because even with my cheap fragrances for life, like Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, which is a pivotal fragrance in my fragrance journey, that had to get left off. Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger, that had to get left off. There's just so many good ones. Lamar from Kajal, Honey Oud from Montal. There's just so many good ones. BondNumber9.com. I could go on and on about these fragrances that it pained me to leave off. Because in the event that I can only keep 10, these are the 10. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. Here's what we're going to do with this tag. Like I normally do, I want to leave this tag open. So anybody that sees this that makes fragrance content and you feel like this is something you would want to do, if you would want to torment yourself, to narrow it down to just 10. Because it's not just 10 designers, it's not just 10 cheapies, it's not just 10 niche, it's just 10, period, as the title and topic of the video indicates. So if you're interested in doing this video, you are tagged. Tag, you're it. Make sure to let me know, message me something. I'd love to see what you guys come up with, because I'd love to see your videos. And until next time, I will say, if you narrow it down to any of the 10 that I'm keeping for life, and you give them a spray now, I'm extremely confident you'll thank me later. Why? Because if I got to get rid of all of these and only keep 10, it's these 10. Have a good one, guys.